Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So this is part 2 of building the new greenhouse. In this video here, we're going to be doing raised beds in this greenhouse here. The other ones we have shelves in them, but this one here we want to be able to plant directly into the ground. So the first thing that we're doing is we're putting down sand so that we can get the posts in and we can get them leveled out. The sand helps a lot with getting everything kind of snug in and leveled. Okay, so you can see here the raised beds are done. There's one here. While the bed itself, the structure is done. And the other one is over here. This one here has already been filled with some soil. Now we're heating this with radiant heat. So we're using 1/2-inch PEX pipe, and that's been fastened over there on the wall with metal banding that has holes for like your screws to go in, so you can tighten it as tight as you need it, and that'll help hold the pipe in place. And we also put metal stakes on the inside of the beds to help hold the structure of the wall. Even though these here are all screwed in and they're all screwed together, we wanted to give extra support. So those are in and those are fastened as well. So what we're going to do then is we're going to continue with the PEX pipe. You can see here where it goes over to the other bed. And we're going to take another loop and go the entire perimeter of the outside of the greenhouse to help keep it warmer. Now, normally in our other greenhouses where the shelves are at, the entire floor is done in PEX piping. But I don't think we're going to put any in the middle. We're going to try it, I think, without it. And if we need to, we'll add it later. So you can see here, this is some of the part that goes around the perimeter of the greenhouse. And then a hole was drilled so that the PEX pipe could go in and come around. Now, your pipe should be spaced about 1 foot apart each. And the landscape U-hooks are really good for helping to hold the pipe in place. We have rocks on some of ours. And this piece out here, the PEX piping, you don't want to bend it too hard because you don't want to kink it. So when it heats up, it can kink if it's bent real hard. So we're going to put a 90-degree angle connector on there and then just connect it together so that we have our loops around and shouldn't have any kinking issues with it. Okay, so this right here is where we have our water line ran for our water for the plants, and we have our electric line running through there. And then we also have, this one here is going to have its own separate heating system. But just in case we ran an auxiliary line over that's connected to one of the other greenhouses, in case we would ever have to hook up to that one for the heat if something would happen with the heat in this one here. So, yeah, our second greenhouse, what we had found out was when we had first put that one up in the middle of winter, we found out we didn't have enough heat in that one. And at that time, we had 2 greenhouses hooked together on one thermostat, and that does not work at all because the old greenhouse would heat up really hot and it would shut the pump down before the new greenhouse was even warm. And that one there, the piping system was underrated in that one, which we didn't know at the time until winter time. So the 12 inches apart spacing is the maximum that you can go. You can put them closer together if you would like and run more lines through, which is going to give you more heat. Now, normally we do put a foil insulation under our heat, under the radiant pipes, and we fasten it down with like that cattle fencing. But this one here, we're doing it a little bit different because we want these beds to heat up nice and warm. So, we also had with the drainage, and that's another reason why we didn't put the foil down. because we are going to be watering this and the plants are going to be growing in the beds themselves, whereas the other greenhouses, the plants are growing in containers and they're growing on shelves and different things. So it's a completely different setup. Now, we will have to be careful when we cultivate the soil. We don't want to use any kind of tiller or any kind of like little handheld thing. We're going to be using like our small little rakes and our small shovels, like little handheld tools, because we don't want to rupture these pipes going through. For one thing, that water is extremely hot when it runs through these pipes. And another thing is you know, you don't want to burn anybody, and we don't want to have an issue where we hit one of the pipes and we drain the system out of the water, because it would be just completely disastrous. You can ruin your heating system and all that different stuff. So we're going to be really careful when we're cultivating the soil to make sure that we don't have an issue with damaging these pipes. Okay, so the next step for the raised beds is they're getting filled with soil. Now, we are using the Professionals Beyond Peat potting mix. It's an organic potting mix. So we're putting that down first. You can see that one over there is already has a bunch of it in it, and it gets raked out after we put it in. You can see our channel lock that we use for our wiggle wire is laying there, down there. I'll talk about that more in another video. But this is going to get filled up with that potting mix then, and then we're going to top it off with raised bed soil. Okay, so the next step for the raised beds is they're getting filled with soil. Now, we are using the Professionals Beyond Peat potting mix. It's an organic potting mix. So we're putting that down first. You can see that one over there is already has a bunch of it in it, and it gets raked out after we put it in. You can see our channel lock that we use for our wiggle wire is laying there, down there. I'll talk about that more in another video. But this is going to get filled up with that potting mix then, and then we're going to top it off with raised bed soil. So I got this soil here on clearance last year at Walmart for $1 a bag, and they were clearing it out at the end of the season. So far there's about 70 bags in here, and it would have been very expensive to get any other kind of soil for in here, but this is going to be covered, so it's going to kind of be like a real big like container in a way. And like I said, we're going to be careful. We're going to use the hand tools when we mix our soil up and put all of our stuff in so that we don't damage that piping. Okay, so you can see the raised beds here are all done. The next step is I'm going to be showing you how we did the plastic, and I'm going to be talking about that in another video. But the raised beds are all filled. We took a bunch of plants out of the old greenhouse, and ones are coming out of the second greenhouse that we built. So you can see some here of what's going to be getting planted in here. And I'm big on recycling, so I get a lot of containers and I'll recycle them and you know, get them cleaned up and replant in them. So this is some of my celosia crop here, some straw flowers, and a bunch of different things are going to be going in here. And you can see here's more stuff here, and I have a lot more stuff to bring over. I'm going to bring my book out, and that has all my plant heights in, so that I can get everything where it needs to be. Now, we're still working on a heat source for this. We had one. It wasn't working the way that it was supposed to be, and then like the next day it completely stopped working. So we're looking for another heat source, and we're, you know, keeping the doors closed and trying to keep all the heat in that we can. So we're going to be getting this stuff planted then. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. That times I put a new video on. You can also follow me on Twitter. I have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye.